Streaming's not showing anything on there out the window. Okay, we'll just assume it's working. Many shirts I've had over the years. Okay, welcome. This is Saturday. It's August 3rd, 2024, and I thought I'd just do a short live session. As a kid, I was a very impatient sort of person, so I tended to run everywhere, etc. So I find that doing a lot of, even now, doing a lot of preparation for a video is numbingly tedious, should we say. And so what I'm trying to do today is just a quick sort of live session. I've done a little bit of preparation, but it's just a little bit of bits and pieces here and there. So what I'm going to do basically is do some short voiceovers, I think is how it's going to come out. So let's just start off with this one. So this is something I've been trying to meme, I'm trying to get out there, but it doesn't seem to be sticking. Eddie's in the flow of time. You know, we all live our own timelines. Sometimes they cross, sometimes they don't move as fast as we would like them to. And so I'm trying to coin the phrase, Eddie's in the flow of time, for that. So that was that one. I started off with the spinning the shirts. This is just to do with, I wanted to get the sort of roulette, not roulette wheel, you know, the spinning wheel goes da 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 type sound. I haven't done that yet, but that's the plan. And then whatever shirt I'm wearing, it's probably not one of those, but anyway, that's that one. Oops, double click on this one properly. For server games. So this is a okay. So when I go to live somewhere new, what I typically do is find a restaurant nearby, or try the restaurants nearby where I'm living, and I start to go, you know, to some of them fairly regularly. So you get to know the servers, the waitresses, the management, etc. quite well. And so sometimes you can start to have a little bit of fun with them, and yeah, it's all just some good ideas. So the first one I'm showing here is that recently the server at the restaurant I go to is very good at trying to keep my coffee cup full. And if you go to any sort of the diner type things, that's a fairly common thing. They really like to try to keep the coffee flowing because it's cheap, but it gives a lot of goodwill. So what I've done here, let's put a little clip together. So here's a typical cup. You can see I use milk rather than creamer because it's this place. And I got to the end of the cup, so I put my cup on its side like that. And oops, let's pause. So that's so that was the quick video of the coffee game. So, no, that's the wrong window. So the thing was that the server thought that was really funny, that I'd managed to get to the point where I'd emptied the cup, and so I could put the cup sideways. Yeah, so thing. Okay, so another game. This is a really oldie one. I'd been going to the same restaurant for 5 or 6 years. It was over in Columbia, Maryland, across the road from where I worked. And one day I just thought, as she put the food down, I just said, "This is wrong." And the server looked at the food, and she knew, you know, she knew it was what I ordered most of the time. So she looked at it, nah, looks correct. And so this is the wrong game. Let's see if I can make that play from here. So here we go. So this is how they put the food down. And what I said, it's wrong. And so I turned it around because I said, you know, I like my burger on the right. And that's the entire thing. But they thought that was really, really funny. Oops, now we're hitting repeat. I don't want repeat. So anyway, that was the wrong game, and it was really funny because the server thought it was funny. And so she actually took the food back to the kitchen, and You can hear laughs from the kitchen. So yeah, it went down pretty well. So when I go to a new place, usually after I get to know the servers fairly well, I'll try the wrong game on them and see how they react. So that's another one. That's a stupid thing you can do. What's next? Okay, I built the, here we go, the PyDP DP10, sorry, PDP-10 kit. This is a lot of soldering, but the instructions work pretty well. There's nothing interesting. There's just a lot of work to do. Things like the LEDs, you put in, solder one lead first, then you can go back and reheat it and make sure it's seated properly before you solder the second lead. Yeah, it's sort of nothing, just a lot of work. You have to be meticulous about not making any mistakes. Same thing's true with the switches. You put switch in, solder just one of the, for instance in this case it has mechanicals, strain connections. So you just solder in one by one, and this is what the assembled unit looks like. Here it was running the lamp, sort of a lamp test program. So that was the PyDP-10. But I did do, I did find the, where has it gone? Wrong one again. This one, here we go. I did notice that there were, when the one of the lamp test program, there seemed to be the lamps that lights, LEDs weren't coming on. So here I've disassembled it again, took it out of the case, and so I ran the test program. You'll see in a moment. Now I got to power it up first. Yeah, even that was a bit. This is a Pi 4, and there's at least 2 versions of it, revisions of it. One of them doesn't work with that type of cable, which is the intelligent power cable. You have to use one that's called a dumb cable, which doesn't try to negotiate the 5-volt power. That cable is a smart cable, and they somehow screwed up the USB-C interface on the earlier revisions, and had to fix it. If you tried, so one of the Pis didn't even power up with that when I tried to power up with one of those cables. But yeah, that's the one that does work. So here is the I've SSH'd into the Raspberry Pi. I will do in a moment. Wakey wakey. Here we go. So I just then run the lamp test program that does. This wasn't the one you saw at the beginning of the other video. End of the other video. What this one is a it's just a simple Pi program. The other one was actually a PDP-10, I believe, execution running on the emulator. So what's happening here is it's displaying the keyboard status, and it's continuously changing, which means it keeps thinking the keys are being pressed and are changing fast, and obviously they're not. So what I believe is I think there's a dry joint somewhere, or something's floating, and it's not being pulled up. And so what's happening is eventually it happens. So I just tried putting my finger around on the back of various joints and things, but it just suddenly stops on its own. And so that's why I think it's a floating connection somewhere. So there's probably a pull-up resistor that's missing or not soldered properly. So that's that. Once it's once it stops and starts reading properly, it just seems to work correctly. So I change a couple of switches, and you can see it's just outputting slightly different values depending on which switch I pressed. So yeah, that's the PyDP-10 so far. I got the PDP-10 emulator because I wanted to, this has a history for me, a little bit of a history. At Imperial College, when I was doing my computer science degree, one of the newest subjects was logic programming, Prolog. And Robert Kowalski was the professor who was basically leading that. And some of the PhD students, I assume they would be then, basically wrote a micro Prolog in Z80 assembler, and for CP/M, because CP/M this is way before PCs existed, so CP/M was the easiest sort of business software hardware combination. And so they wrote it in an assembler, because those machines typically only had 64K of RAM, in which you had to include the CP/M operating system, as it were. And I learned how. So we did the Prolog programming course, and my project was last year project was to add backtracking to the fourth programming language. So one of the things that I saw at the time was David Warren's Prolog for the PDP-10 and how that worked. So that was sort of part of that. So the PDP-10, although I never ever logged into one, it had some influence in what I was doing for my degree. So what I would like to do is to use the PyDP-10 and actually run some PDP stuff. I'm having problems with the displays, getting a desktop on it. I don't know why it's being such an issue. Suddenly, I mean, all my Pis and things are they have some have HDMI issues and some have Wi-Fi issues. So, for instance, I have a Pi 0W here, and I can power it up. I can use the HDMI adapter. It displays fine, but on that one, I can't get the Wi-Fi to turn on or work. This one is a Pi 4, and this is actually the one that supports the power cable. And there's another one over here, the older version. As you can see, I've labelled it with this is the older revision. So this one's the one that needs the dumber USB-C power cable. This works fine because I can plug in a Ethernet adapter and hardwire it. So I'm having just weird, odd issues. Neither of those two worked with HDMI to start with. So I eventually had to SSH into them. That took a while to work out how to do that because you don't know what IP address it's using. So there's lots of little stupid things that just make life tedious. Eventually, I did find out that when the Wi-Fi does work, or when the Ethernet's set up properly, it does register its host name with the local USB network router, and you can actually access it by name that way. So that was, it's working, and so I have nice flashy lights. Let's see if I can find them on the other video again. Hang on, back a moment. Here we go. So here we go. This is what the flashing light program does. This is just a Pi program doing it. It's not the DEC 10 emulator. And I did find out that say about 9 of the lights weren't being flashed, and I did double check and realised I'd only soldered one of the leads. So I had to fix that. Those chips down the bottom there, I'm wondering whether one of those is the one that has either bad connection to the socket or it's just floating, because it's probably would have to be like an enable or something on the switch settings, potentially. Anyway, so I'll debug that one day, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I think that was everything I wanted to do on this stream. We'll see. So I'll sign off on this one.